Hello and welcome to the Malaika Writes channel. My name is Malaika Writes and today we are going to be doing another Q&A. I just want to take a moment to apologize for my long absence. I also know that it's been a terribly long time since you guys have seen my face, so thank you for sticking with me this long. The holiday period has been a bit hectic, but hopefully we'll get more videos out. I actually have a few more videos planned. One of them is going to be about the theme of love in Middle-earth. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that. So let's begin with the first question, which is, how do you write an ideology or worldview that you disagree with? So this is something that can be a little bit tricky to do because, especially for first-time writers, but I think the best approach to go with is to kind of do your due diligence, which is make sure that you've actually done the research. You're not writing from a place of strictly personal bias. I think one of the best things to do is to read a lot of books by various different authors on this worldview that you want to do. Don't read from people that you just agree with. A lot of people do this and fall into the trap of basically having an echo chamber where they're not actually writing about the ideology, and it's really easy to sort of dispute the things they write about because they just listen or read articles and books from people that they agree with, from people that are going to give them exactly what they believe already. So it's very important that you read and listen to people who you don't agree with in order to come to sort of full conclusion, because the job of a writer is not just to entertain, but it's also to represent the world in a way that is familiar to us and in a way that other people, no matter where they're sort of coming from, can relate to a little bit. So it's very important for you to do your due diligence. The next thing I would say is that try to hold yourself back a little bit away from your work. It's not about you, it's about the reader. I'm not quite on the level of the author is dead, but I do believe that it is about the reader. You are speaking to an audience who may believe in what you disagree with. So it's very important to remember that while you shouldn't be censoring yourself, of course, but this story isn't about you. It's about a bunch of characters, if you're writing fiction, and you are just supposed to be telling the character's story. So that second piece of advice is just hold yourself back and be objective and sort of just look at the ideology that you're trying to write about and see its natural conclusion. If it's nihilism, well, what's the natural conclusion of nihilism? If you don't believe in anything, if you don't think that life is sort of worth anything, it has no meaning, well, your actions are going to show that belief. And for the most part, if your characters believe in nihilism, then they're not going to achieve very much in their lives because they don't believe it means anything. So work and planting something in the ground is not really going to mean anything, or they won't have any motivation to do anything. So that's the kind of advice that I would give for that first question. Just be objective, hold yourself back a little bit from your work and from the ideology, and also do some research. Find out more. Don't just listen to people you agree with. Get both sides of the story. Come to a sort of fair and logical conclusion. Don't just go based on your immediate gut feeling about this ideology. You may even learn a thing or two. So the next question is, any tips for writing characters from other cultures? Now, I've done an entire video on this, so if you want to check that out, I will leave the video link in the description. But I think the best advice I could give for writing characters from other cultures, similar to the advice I just gave, was to be objective and do your research. Don't be afraid to write a character who comes from a culture that is completely different to yours, because it's not sort of fair to limit your work. Go where your work demands, go where your work sort of needs you to go. But also remember that you may be writing some person's lived experience and it could get a little bit sensitive for them. Just keep that in mind. I'm not a fan of censorship, so don't censor yourself. But also remember that if you're writing a culture that's unfamiliar to you, your job as a writer is to write the best work that you can. So I don't think sort of asking you to do your due diligence should be that much of a stretch, because you'll be doing that anyway with your research. So just treat it like any other part of the work. Treat it as a way to flesh out your characters. It shouldn't become sort of the only thing we know about your character. It shouldn't become the thing that defines your character. It's just another tag. It's just another character tag. It's just one of the other things that we'll see, like, oh, they have brown hair or something like that. It's not, the fact they have brown hair is not supposed to be the entire thing about their character. So just don't make it overwhelming, but also make sure that you know how to use it, you know enough about the culture for your writing to flow. So that's the advice that I would give. This one's star sign. What is your star sign? I actually don't give a lot of thought to star signs and all of that stuff. I mean, at one point I probably knew a lot more about it, but since then I haven't really thought about it. I can't remember everything. Let's see. I think my star sign is Aquarius because I'm born in February. What's the rising? I know that my moon is in Gemini. Rising, I think it's something like Sagittarius. I think that's it. But anyone who's interested in star signs and anyone who's, you know, knows what that combination says about me, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I'd be happy to know. Next question. Favorite Disney princess and why? Oh, this is a hard one. This is a difficult one because I like little things about sort of all of them. I don't know if I have a favorite. I know that one of my favorite songs it probably comes from Pocahontas, but I don't know if she's my favorite princess. I actually don't know the answer to that question. I quite like Tiana just because of her work ethic and her, I think her love for her father and everything sort of permeates through. I don't know if she's my favourite Disney princess. Moana's music was beautiful, so maybe. I think, let's say, probably Mulan. Let's say Mulan. She's my favourite Disney princess. I quite like her. Her story, I think a lot of girls identify with. I definitely did. So maybe it's just because I'm in that fighting part of my life. But I think she's probably my favourite Disney princess. It may change. Who knows? But for now, Mulan is my favourite Disney princess. And the why of that? Well, I think she has a story. Not the live action one. The live action Mulan was terrible. The original cartoon version, animated version, was much better, and I think her story is endearing. She didn't do it because she wanted to just fight everyone and thought she was better than the guys. She fought because she loved her father and she knew that he was going to die, and she would rather give her life, not just for her father but her country. I think that's very brave. Which is weird coming from someone who's in Slytherin, but you know, I think she's very brave, and I think that she used her head. The story was very realistic about the ways in which a woman could sort of compete with a man, so you have to use your head a lot more because the physical strength is just not there. So I liked the fact that her story felt very real. You could relate to it, and it wasn't about competing with the guys, even though I've mentioned that a few times, but it wasn't about competing with the guys. It was about finding yourself and sort of doing things because it was the right thing to do, even if it wasn't acceptable at the time. If it's the right thing to do, it's being brave enough to do it. So the next question is your favorite anime character. Everyone's asking me such hard questions. Favorite anime character. I would have to say that my favorite anime character is Griffith from Berserk. The reason for this is because not only is he a complex character who was so enthralled with his dream that he was willing to do anything, but also kind of regretted it at the end. Not completely because he's Griffith, but you know, there was a sense of regret. There was a sense of looking, especially at the end of the manga, there's a sense that he's sort of looking back at Guts and Casca, his two friends, and really wanting that what he had with them. And sort of thinking, almost thinking to himself, and I'm inferring here, but almost thinking to himself whether his initial dream of, you know, having his own civilization was worth what he ended up doing to his friends, because he did sacrifice them. So he's a complex character, he's well written, he's also, I think, a very good lesson in evil, because he's very attractive and quite beautiful actually. He's like an angel, but he's also really demonic in a way that's very scary, and it also shows a little bit of what Tolkien does with Sauron, where he's physically beautiful but he's also really sick. So I really liked that character of Griffith. I think that he's one of the best characters in anime. I'm gonna add another one in here, but Eren Yeager is so good, because that switch that he has, the end, I don't really know how to feel about that revelation of him being in love with Mikasa. I don't know what to do with that, but the end and the sort of switch he made, and how we followed his progress from this boy that wanted to kill all the Titans and was sort of just average in everything, but through sheer willpower just managed to scrape by and kept having all these disappointments and slowly being molded by the situation to turn into someone who just, you know, wanted to become the devil. So I think characters like that really fascinate me. I absolutely love characters like that. They're such interesting characters to study, and that's probably why those two are my favourites. So just from those two, you'll probably know why I liked the first season of Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know what happened to the other seasons. I'm still trying to figure out what happened in those other seasons. But yeah, I don't know. We won't talk about Tokyo Ghoul past season 1. So the final question. How did you get into the Dark Academia scene? Okay, this is a little bit straightforward actually, because I have been reading for a very long time and I love books, so that's kind of the essence of Dark Academia, the love of books, the love of classical civilizations and history, and I love all of those things. So it was sort of inevitable. I think the Dark Academia scene just gave my love a passion, so just gave my passion a name, sorry. And yeah, so that's kind of how I found myself in the scene, because I was already sort of doing it from a very young age, and it just got given a name. I think the aesthetic of it, I definitely don't dress Dark Academia, but I think I'm too much of a rock star for that. But the way I live my life, the sheer amount of reading I do, the sheer amount of books I have, I was sort of always doing Dark Academia in some way or other. I studied government and politics, and history and English for A-level, so those are sort of my interests. Those are things that I'm passionate about, and this channel is all about books. And you know what, I'm gonna add another question to this, because I got asked this question and I didn't actually know whether I was going to answer it, because it's sort of a hot topic, but I might answer it. I'll actually answer it now because it links into this whole dark academia question. I got asked the question, do I think that my channel is a red pill or sort of manosphere take on channel? The answer is no. I know that I talk about themes of masculinity and femininity a lot, because those are what you are going to find in books. You are either going to find a male or female character or some variation of those. So I do tend to talk about those archetypes a lot, but I am by no means a red pill or manosphere channel. Number one, I'm a woman. I'm not really going to understand the male lived experience. I do understand the fictional male experience, and I do have some knowledge of human psychology. So when you incorporate that into a story, what you're going to get is realistic and good characters. I relate a lot of the things I do to life, because I do think that they have some merit in human lives. But for the most part, the interest of this channel is good storytelling and always fighting for the right of people to tell good stories, which is the main focus of this channel. It's not red pill by any means. So I would not say that I'm red pill by any sort of standard. This channel is very much a dark academia channel, and we mostly talk about archetypes that are going to help you understand books better and are going to enrich your reading experience. So I hope that has answered the question, and maybe put any sort of questions that people had about my channel and the intent of my channel to rest. I know that there is a huge debate going on right now in red pill circles about who is making red pill content, and stuff to do with certain channels being struck off or certain channels being sort of scamming people. That's a whole section that I am not equipped to deal with. So I'm just going to stay in my lane and talk about things that are going to really benefit people who are writing and really benefit people who are interested in good storytelling.